Hello, welcome to today's video. So the Premier League is back next Friday. It all kicks off again. Arsenal travelling to Crystal Palace to take on Patrick Vieira's side as he faces his former club, and it's all happening next Friday. And with that, everything kicks off again. The season's back, fantasy football's back. Um, Debates are back, talking points are back, the drama's back. You probably know the rest from there. But what I'm going to do in today's video is basically go through, I suppose, the preseason predictions. You'll see pundits and shows do this in various formats, but it's not groundbreaking. It's nothing new. It's the kind of classic questions, and there's five of them today that I'm going to be trying to breeze through. So we've got our top four. We have our relegation candidates. We've our signing of the season. We've our player of the season, and we have our young player of the season. So I'll start with the top four. Look, not much time going to be wasted on the top two. It's going to be the same top two for my money that are going to be battling it out for the title. Um, and it's the same teams that have battled it out for the last 4 or 5 seasons. It's going to be City and Liverpool, and I think it's going to be in that order again. Don't think it's going to be as close as last season, just because look, City, although they stumbled massively against Real Madrid, they still won another league title. They still played the same sort of football, and it was without a recognised quote unquote striker. Now, this season, they've brought in Erling Haaland, a guy who's pretty much kept pace throughout his career with a nearly a goal to game ratio of one, as in one goal scored for every game played. He's phenomenal. He's already off the mark with City in his preseason debut against Bayern Munich the other day. Um, and even look, if Haaland hits the ground running, it's game over. He should, by all conventional wisdom, walk the league. Even if he doesn't, though, like they still have the likes of Bernardo Silva there. They still have the likes of Phil Foden there. They've experimented with different false lines last season and didn't really hurt them. And they have Julian Alvarez as well, who they've brought in from River Plate, the guy scoring double hat tricks over in Argentina. So they'll be all right, needless to say, and they're probably going to win the league again. Liverpool, I still think come second. I think Sadio Mane is a big loss. I don't think Darwin Nunes, the signing of him, I don't think he's going to replicate the 20 odd goals that Mane gives you every season. I know he scored four there the other day in pre-season. One of the keeper had a shocker on one of those goals. There's a penalty in there. Look, you score four goals, you score four goals, no matter what way you slice it up. But what I'm basically trying to say is that he's not Sadio Mane. Not yet, anyway. So on that basis, until I see the level of replacement there is a chance that Luis Diaz steps up. But I think what they've lost in Mane and what they've replaced it with in Nunes, I don't think it's enough to overcome the gap that Manchester City has created. And that's the easiest way of saying that. With regards to the other four, I think there's another tier here, and I think they're all essentially vying for the same spots. You probably the teams I'm going to say: Manchester United, Chelsea, Arsenal, and Spurs. And I probably have that in reverse order as well because I actually think Spurs are going to finish third this season. The whole knock on Tottenham for years has been I think it's the Chiellini, Giorgio Chiellini line of this is the way of the Tottenham.
But Tottenham is the history of the Tottenham.
Or it's the Arsenal fans chant of it's happened again, Tottenham Hotspur, it's happened again.
It's happened again. It's happened again. You know the rest.
Or just for in one word itself, Spursy. Um, and basically even in spite of having two of the top five players in the league and Harry Kane and Heung-min Son, or whether it's a couple of years ago under Pochettino somehow finding a way to bottle the title to Leicester City, this team and this club, for better or worse, always finds a way to get in its own way. And I think with Conte, like we've seen how shambolic they were under Nuno Espirito Santo last year. That appointment, well, I thought on face value, it's okay. I mean, he did a good run with Wolves, so to speak. It just became very clear early doors that Kane was sulking, or maybe not publicly sulking, but at least on the pitch, his performances were well off it. After he didn't get his move to Manchester City. Um, and it just was never inspiring at all. Like it was a disastrous run, highlighted by the 3-0 shellacking they got at the Emirates against Arsenal. Where they got ran off the pitch. You just knew there was clear trouble signs. But since Conte came in to get them from that sort of um, to rescue from that rabble that they were in, to ultimately end up as a Champions League side. And now you got a full summer under Conte, you got a full preseason under Conte, and they've also strengthened their squad with the likes of Richarlison, Ivan Perisic, Yves Bissouma, Clement Langley. Like they've made some serious signings, and this is becoming and looking like less and less of a Spursy and typical Tottenham team, and it's being more and more molded into an Antonio Conte five at the back, organized, structured, cohesive unit. And with that, as this team becomes more and more Conte like and more molded in his image, um, he's one of the best managers in the world, and he builds title contending teams. Now, I don't think Spurs are that yet, but this could be a season to lay a foundation for seasons to come if they can get third and they have a good cup run, they have a good run in Europe. It's a team that's going places because as long as Levy's there supporting them, and as long as Paratici and Conte are identifying talent and obviously developing talent, they're in a good place. Fourth is the tough one. I don't know. I wrote out a list before, and it was obviously look, it's the same six teams every year, bar like a miracle run from Leicester City. We all know who they are, but this year it feels like the three teams that I haven't mentioned in Chelsea, Manchester United, and Arsenal. It seems like the margins are very thin. Now, granted, with these preseason predictions, you're never going to get them 100%, so I'm probably going to be painfully wrong on a couple. But when I look at it, I think it's going to be Arsenal, and I'll get into the two. And I'm not even 100% comfortable even saying Arsenal. But the way I look at it, okay, they went through the whole Aubameyang car crash, all the off-field distractions, the stripping of the captaincy, all the turbulence they had last season, which should make for great viewing for the Amazon Prime Video documentary next month. But with that said, Lacazette was clearly, while he was a good link-up player and while he gave them some good things in the team, he clearly was probably on his way out there, and was probably not the long-term answer for them going forward. So they've signed Gabriel Jesus, who, as I said in other videos, I've had my doubts over before, but spade a spade. The guy lit it up in the last 2 months of the Premier League season. Bagged four against Watford, was tremendous against Liverpool, and he's hit the ground running. I think he's already on 4 goals in the preseason for Arsenal. So if he's their number nine, that's great. Um, as I said, I think Zinchenko is a great player. And I've watched him there for Ukraine. Albeit, look, I don't know if Wales and Scotland, while they're good international teams, I don't know if they're the absolute top end Premier League sides ahead they pale in comparison. But Zinchenko was, look, for my money, one of the best players for Ukraine, if not the best player, and he was playing in centre midfield there. So if he's any sort of joy alongside Thomas Partey, I think they'll be good there. They got William Saliba coming back in. Big question with them is Tierney. How long can he stay fit for? On the other side as well, Tommy Asu. I don't think Cedric. I think Cedric can be got at as well. So yeah, I'm going to say fourth for Arsenal. Um, and here's kind of why. United have looked good under Ten Hag so far, and they've made the right signings. They've brought in Alessandro Martinez. They've brought in Christian Eriksen. It'd be interesting to see what they're going to do with this Malacia guy. He's a left back, and there's also kind of rumors here they're going to be looking potentially at turning Alex Telles into a defensive midfielder. We'll see how that pans out. Um, but I mean, there was particularly a goal there that they scored, and it was an excellent view. Basically kind of coast to coast, full pitch passes, and you could see Ten Hag's plan coming together. And they have looked good, and I probably in other words I would probably tip them to finish top four because I do actually think in a head-to-head game I think they could be easily better than Arsenal. The only reason I'm not putting United in the Champions League spots here, um, it's this Ronaldo drama. This stuff is just weird now at this stage. Like he's he's agitated for a move. He's left. He didn't travel with the team to their preseason tour of Australia just because, yeah, for personal reasons, and which also coincided with leaks that he's looking for a new club. And in what must have been some shock to his ego, every single club or major European team rolled out some sort of platitude of great player, but no thank you. And it's look, it's a really weird one with Ronaldo because you're either going to be on two sides of the fence here. You're going to be on the side that this is the greatest player that football has ever seen. This is a guy that scored 18 goals, and if he's going to walk into the team, and as long as he's still scoring goals, everyone just has to get used to him. You know, everyone has to adhere to his standards, rise to his standards, and meet his intensity. You know, go on and on and on. Or you're of the other view, which is, you know, this is a guy that doesn't press. This is a guy that, eh, like, regardless of what you think, he United's attack was not as fluid as it has been in previous seasons. I think they scored 16 less goals last season than they did the season before. Um, who's not exactly an ideal fit in the way that I suppose I'm at 37, in the way that a modern team is supposed to be, and he's also the club kind of becomes Ronaldo FC. Every time this guy's taken off, camera pans on him. Every time a ball, it's a bad pass and he throws his hands up in the air and he gives one of his teammates a glare, that becomes that becomes an angle. Everything becomes a distraction underneath it. And well, United look like this is kind of what the team that you thought they were building at the end of Solskjaer's last full season in charge, when they finished second in the league, and there was young players that were going to develop. And then look, obviously we'll see what happens with Martial and Rashford if they can kind of bounce back to what they were a few years ago. But I just think it's there's too much of a distraction there. There's too much of, and especially if he's already agitated that he wants out. And like full well, like if say Ten Hag does bench him, even if United lose a game, it's gonna go. Camera's gonna be at him a full time, sitting there smoldering, you know, steam coming out of his ears. So that's why I otherwise, I like everything United are doing. I just think having that cloud over their head, still does score goals. There's a potential there at any moment for it to go south, like we saw with Jose Mourinho and Paul Pogba and that whole training ground thing. There's just too much of that around Old Trafford at the moment, and it's the only reason I can't see them getting into top four at the moment. And as for Chelsea, this was another tough one because this is a side that's what the season before last won the Champions League and finished third place. So to have them go from third to sixth is a pretty big fall. But they've been a disaster during the preseason. They were rocky ever since the whole Abramovich scandal, for lack of a better term, came out. They really kind of looked like at one stage, even like while they were so far ahead, because you got to remember they contended with Liverpool and City for the first 10, 11 games of the season. But they were quite alarming over the last 2 months of the season. And if the season went for a few more months, they probably could have had the potential to drop out of the top four. Um, it's a basket case. They can't sign the defenders they want. They're after Jules Koundé at the moment. They can't get him because Barcelona are seemingly pulling money out of thin air, under the mattress, out of floorboards, like activating economic levers, as opposed to mortgaging your entire future for a transfer window. But everywhere Chelsea go, not only are they competing and trying to hijack the deals for Jules Koundé, they're also after Marcus Alonso and David Azpilicueta. So Chelsea can't even, not only can they not buy the players to replace the likes of Andre Christensen and Tony Rudiger, which they have done, I suppose, in Koulibaly, but they need more there. And then up front, Christian Pulisic is unhappy. Timo Werner is unhappy. He wants out. Hakim Ziyech is looking for a move to AC Milan. And they can't really go after and get replacements for these players either, because they're so preoccupied trying to buy defenders to fulfill what's already missing, and then also to potentially fulfill what they could potentially still yet to lose. So there's too much between their preseason form, between the unhappiness among certain players, between the signings they still have to do and the players they could still yet to lose. There's a lot going on at Chelsea, and not a lot of it is very solid. In saying that, you could look back on this video literally in 2 months and they're in third place and they're firing again. Because we've seen before, like Louis Van Gaal has won every single preseason game and on one of his preseason tours in United, and we all know how that ended up anyway. So, but for now, that's the most logical way I can think of the top six.